And now we're live. Hey there, well, it's Glen here. I'm the founder of the Happy Cow Milk Company, and thanks for joining us. This is the first of a weekly live broadcast that we're going to run every week. And we were thinking, the Happy Cow team and I, about various people that we wanted to interview and talk to, experts and researchers, and we figured if we can do it live, people can interact and they can ask questions that maybe we didn't think of. And I think we've proved over time that Happy Cow does think about the dairy industry a little bit differently. We're of the opinion that if dairy is going to be successful in the future, we kind of have to do things differently. And I think the Happy Cow story has kind of shown that people really like what we've been talking about and how we want to change things. And I understand, a lot of farmers may not understand why we do the things we do, and it may seem a little bit counterproductive. And I think hopefully the more dialogue we can have with farmers and customers and anyone involved with the milk business is better for us to understand things. So I thought tonight I'll just run you through a little bit of where we are with Happy Cow Milk, what we're trying to build and why we're building it the way we are. You guys can ask me questions if you like. I'm open to any questions. And we've got a few questions from the Happy Cow fans as well that we'll answer at the end. So I'll start off with, if I can get this to work. So basically our mission at Happy Cow is a more caring, kinder and fairer dairy. And that's not to say that other dairy farmers aren't caring and kind and fairer. It's to say that, I think we need to up our game if we're going to succeed. And we can talk about it later. There's lots of threats that the dairy industry face, and I just believe it's the right thing to do. And at Happy Cow, we really want to find people who believe what we believe, and happy to do, happy to go along and push the boundaries like we are. But what does a more caring, kinder, fairer dairy industry mean? And it applies to all sorts of things. It can apply to the environment as far as plastic bottles and reusable packaging, and that's kind of what we're known for. And there's quite a few dairy businesses around that are starting to make this happen, and it's really our, as I said, it's our mission to make these things kinder and fairer. And we think that actually really pushing through and getting rid of single-use plastic is in line with one of those things. Our cow and calf thing. Our policy about leaving calves with their mothers, both male and female, until they wean is, I think that's what we're known best for. We started doing that, but it's probably the biggest thing that we really struggle with as far as working with farmers. And it's a core part of our business. I sort of believe in 10 years' time that if you're a dairy farmer and you're separating your calves at birth, I just don't feel that we'll be able to be successful in the market. And we're going to be talking to people in the future around the alternative proteins, and not so much the oat milks and things like that, but more the precision fermentation of proteins, and that's moving at a huge rate. And I think that if dairy is going to survive, it has to be the most ethical, most sustainable version. So, I mean, we're holding strong to our vision of how we think cows should be farmed on farm, and it's not going to happen overnight, but it's a core value of ours, and that's what we believe a caring, kinder, and a more fairer dairy is. But feel free, if you disagree with me, I'm happy to answer all those questions. And I think what we'll do in the future is we'll really debate this. I mean, I'd love to get some existing farmers on, and we can talk about why it doesn't happen already and why the difficulties around it, and we can talk why we believe it's the way to go. But also fairer and kinder for farmers. I think farmers in New Zealand get a bit of a hard time, more from a public perspective. But around the world, other farmers, they seem to be quite liked by the public, but they get screwed financially. Basically, they're stuck in these big systems of retailers and the milk processors seem to have the upper hand. And if you look through Europe and the US, a lot of these smaller farmers are, they're really on subsistence sort of livings. And, we sort of think that's wrong. And I think our goal is to be able to provide these farmers with a mechanism to go direct to their customers. So, I've spent 4 or 5 years actually bottling milk, processing milk, figuring out what worked, what didn't work, or what was expensive and what was not expensive, what was efficient and inefficient. And it's really driven us to get to the point where we are today. I've also been out in the paddock milking cows. I mean, I've grown up milking cows, so I know what milking cows is about. We developed our mobile cow shed, which I'm a big fan of, and I'm a big advocate of it, and would love to see more of that. And I think we want to push that as we go further on. But the point I'm trying to make here is, I have done it all. We're not just making stuff up. We've been there and we've tried it. And in fact, it's if you've known the Happy Cow story, we started in 2014 and basically ended in 2018, and then our crowd, our fan base from literally around the world wanted to see us keep going, and they sort of share our vision of this a kinder and fairer dairy. I don't know why I put that slide there. Maybe I've done milk processing, but anyway, I think I look better looking now though, anyway. And it comes back to what is the problem that we're trying to solve at Happy Cow Milk? Is it is it plastic? Is it carbs and those sorts of things? But what it certainly isn't is how do we build a pasteurizer or a milk dispenser, or how do we farm more ethically or sustainably? Those we sort of know how to do those things. Those things already exist. And I suppose the reason I'm mentioning those things is we haven't launched yet, and I think a lot of people would like to see us dispensing milk somewhere, and they would think that that is a gauge of success. And of course, we need to sell milk, and that's our goal. But that's not really meaning we're going to be more successful if we start pumping milk out of a dispenser now. What we're really focusing on is how do we build, the system that enables a caring, kind of fairer dairy to actually scale. It's not enough to kind of build a little farm that works. I mean, that's nice to have, but we need to build something that's going to scale, and that basically is a system. So in the last 12 months, we've been building that system, and that's really behind the scenes stuff. It's back-end code, it's databases, it's electronics, it's all sorts of stuff that, quite frankly, is quite boring. But it's what makes us able to do what we would like to do. And it always comes back for us, this caring, kind of fairer dairy. And to us, that means you need the right farmers, and that's harder than you think. As I said, our cow and calf policy, that drives a lot of farmers away, and because it's difficult, because it is a change and it means they have to change their system. But I think we're not going to, our supporters don't support us because we just think, we're going to give up and go the easy way. Now, maybe we won't, farmers might start and they might transition from their existing systems and trial it. I think we're happy to work with farmers like that, but we really need farmers that actually want to do something different, and they actually want to suppose be in contact with their local customers. And scale means we need the system that can spread. So like I said, it's fine to have a little system, one system that works, but we need it to spread. And if we can't make it spread, that means we can't, it just reduces our impact. And I think our impact is, if we can have a bigger impact as possible, that's really what we would like to achieve. So Happy Cow, we need to build a system that is basically finding the right farmers. We don't want it to be really difficult. We just want to naturally attract the right farmers who are interested. We need to find the right people who want to sell our milk. So we won't partner with people who, I suppose, don't live our values. And I find this is the easy part, finding the right customers. And what Happy Cow does is we connect them all together, and we enable them to buy and sell milk, and most importantly, get paid. And we have to do it in a way that scales. So I keep repeating myself here, in a way that scales, because there's this assumption that when you're small and you're little and you're a little boutique or dinky little dairy farm, that it's not scalable. And we're really challenging that assumption. We think we can build a system that can scale and spread across the world. So a system that scales, or in order to get a system where we attract the right farmers and they're able to supply their local market, we need to be able to give them the facilities and the ability to process milk. The reason farmers are generally at the mercy or the whim of dairy factories is because the factories have the ability to process the milk. And by giving farmers that ability, it enables them to, diversify, but also go direct to the consumer and get more for their milk. So I've just taken this as an example of a German company that makes a milk factory in a 40-foot container. And this is a really good unit. And you can see there it's 280,000 New Zealand dollars, which is actually a good price, but it's still a lot of money. If you have a look inside, it's got the your boot exchange, where you change out of your dirty clothes into your white overalls and hairnets and things like that. And again, we've already got milk dispensers. We're not trying to develop anything new. Milk dispensers already exist, and you would have seen them in all sorts of places around New Zealand. And again, milk tanks, they already exist, and you can see the price there. So if we took a farmer who wanted to sell 1,000 litres of milk, you would have to, spend 280K buying your little factory. You'd need about 7 dispensers, probably 14 tanks, and that gives you around $487,000 of capital outlay. So when it comes to a scalable model and how do you scale, if we were to use this equipment, we would need to find the right farmer who also has a spare $487,000 lying around, which they may exist, but there's less of them. And after spending all that money on that equipment, they still have food safety regulations. You still got to market the product, find the customers, make the sales. And what people underestimate is admin. Like, admin is a huge overhead. And this is the stuff like purchase orders, invoicing, chasing up people who don't pay, and even paperwork that gets mixed up, and it's ordering and all those sorts of things. And it's one of those little costs that we don't give enough attention to. So, as I said before, if we got the existing equipment that is already available, it's a little bit expensive, but that's okay. But it's actually hard to scale that system. So what we've done with Happy Cow is we've developed an all-in-one milk pasteurizer and milk tank. And in the lid there is a little microcomputer, and it transmits data in real time. So we've made this little pasteurizer a smart pasteurizer, basically. And what we're trying to do is create a system that is easy for the farmer to use, and the less work. And basically, these pasteurizer tanks will go into what we call our milk processing hub. And this is, I suppose, to do the same job as that 40-foot container plant that I showed before, except it's a lot smaller, a lot cheaper, and a person doesn't fit inside it. And the reason we've done that is because we want to create a system, thinking of the system that scales. We want to make it so it's virtually impossible for a farmer to contaminate the milk. So we're going to create the system that only works a certain way. And even if you've got someone who's, borderline negligent, they would still not contaminate the milk. So with existing milk processing facilities, it requires the farmer to, I suppose, be responsible. And I don't want that to be taken the wrong way. It's not like we're going to have irresponsible farmers, but we want, we want to reduce the risk. And if we can build a foolproof system that enables us to, sleep easy, knowing that, no one's going to get sick. And this is sort of a modular system. It has a unit that does all the washing, the cleaning, the hot water, those sorts of things, and cooling. And then as you increase sales, you can just add an extra unit, which basically accounts for 5 tanks. And the thing that, when it comes down to how we're going to make the scale, our system talks directly to that tank. That little tank with its microcontroller does all the, I suppose it cleans itself, it records the cleaning of itself, it sends that data to the cloud so we know it's been cleaned. And then it will pasteurize its own milk and it will monitor itself, and it sends all that data to the farmer. So what we're doing is we're also providing a complete regulatory framework for the farmer to work within, so they don't have to deal with MPI or food safety regulators. We do that ourselves. So that's the processing side of things. And then we get to the reselling side of things. And I've got some questions here. Oh yeah, we'll cover that in a sec. So as I said before, there's already milk dispensers out there, and the thing is if you look at a standard milk dispenser, they're like a large fridge basically, and we've wanted to simplify things quite a lot and make our dispenser versatile, so we can have more and more people who can become resellers. And that's our dispenser. It's a table, and we got our tanks underneath there, and there's our little dispenser. Excuse me. And what you can't see is behind those tanks is our little refrigeration unit that keeps them cool. And the reason we've sort of made it like that at this stage is that you can see how it becomes modular. If you're a cafe, you can move all that stuff around. It doesn't need to be in that configuration. The refrigeration unit can be out the back, and the tanks can be out the front. And what it does is it makes it much easier to, much more space efficient. But it's modular, so it's flexible, so it can fit into multiple different configurations. And the reason we're keen to do this is, like I said before, I want the more people that can sell milk, the better, and that's great for the farmer as well, because then they have more salespeople, I suppose. This is I suppose, a mock-up of how you could potentially do home delivery. And again, it's the dispenser, goes door to door to people's houses and fills up their milk bottles. And a system that scales means it needs to be easy to take care of all the payment. So we've delivered, I suppose we've already designed and built the home delivery system. And what that means is someone at home just clicks buy now on their app and creates a run sheet for their local delivery person. And then every night they could run around and do their local suburb. And I think we're sort of bringing back the milkman again. And again, it's this idea of how do we make it scale? How do we make it for people easy for people to do this? And I suppose you need to download the app, and you have some way of sending a tank round to your local neighborhood. But it doesn't need to be really flashy or fancy. It just needs to be effective. And what we do is make sure that the food safety component is intact, and also payment takes place. And I think one of the best things that I think are underestimated, particularly from farmers' perspective, is this connection with the farmer. So when I was, actually milking cows, the thing that I really loved the most is I would get messages almost every day, and people customers asking me about the farm and things like that, and they're actually interested in me, I suppose. And I think what we want to do is enable farmers to get that connection. And I think this is actually really I don't know how to explain it. I think farmers underestimate how good it is to actually have the understanding of their customers, and to be able to have a conversation, a real conversation, and you can get into the nitty-gritty of subjects, and you can I suppose build trust. And I think this is really what Happy Cow is all about, is we have local farmers or a local farmer who supplies their local community, and they become like a little club, a little team, and they're just trading amongst themselves, and they get to know each other, the resellers, the farmer, and all the customers. And I think when I think of all the things that Happy Cow does, I actually think this is going to have the biggest impact on people. So, right, here's a quick video. I just thought I'd show you a little bit behind the scenes of us getting our dispenser going. So this is Barnaby, who's an intern from Canterbury University. And what we need to do is get a dispenser that's accurate. So Barnaby spent literally 2 weeks just pushing the dispense button and measuring it and weighing it and making sure that it was accurate. And I think we don't really show much of this stuff, because when I do, it's like crickets. No one really seems to be that interested. But if you go and share a video about Happy Cows or plastic, people seem to love that. And I do too, but this is like the nitty-gritty stuff that really enables things to happen. So, and there's hours and hours. When people ask, why you're not selling milk yet, although a dispenser is relatively simple, it's kind of easy to get, 90% accurate. It's quite a bit harder to get, to get it, accurate within 2%. So anyway, it comes down to when are we going to launch? That's lovely, Glen. Nice plan, all those sorts of things. And we're waiting on a few things. So we're waiting on MPI, that's the Ministry for Primary Industries. They have to approve our hub, and we're pretty confident that that's going to happen. We've got a very good food safety consultant on board, and the thing is, it just takes a little bit of time. There's a lot of different parties that it has to go through, and we expect to have that towards the end of this month. And basically, once that's come through, we can start selling milk. The other thing we have to decide is where we're going to launch. So we would like to launch in Canterbury. Obviously, that's where we started. That's where a lot of our customers are, and we'd love to restock all those places that used to stock our milk. And also it's good for us because we can test things. But, we need to also find the right farmers. And we've got a good lot of farmers in the North Island and not so much in the South Island. So if you know of any farmers in the South Island who might be interested in the Happy Cow way, we'd be really keen to hear from you. But the plan is that we're going to do a soft launch towards the end of March, and basically prove and show what we've built, and I think when people can actually see it, I think it'll people will be quite impressed. So we're going to move on, and after our launch, we're then going to go and do our second crowdfunding campaign, because the $400,000 that we raised last November has enabled us to build all this. It's to pay the software developers and the electronics and things like that. But now we need to actually scale it up, and this is where we're, it starts to get even more complicated, because as soon as something hits the customers, things start to all the little things start to go wrong, and we need people who are able to fix it. And what we need to do in this first stage is basically make all this hardware and the electronics bulletproof. So that's what we plan to do with that, and as soon as we have that done, we would be rolling out across the country. So in the next month or so, we're going to be signing up farmers who are interested. We're going to also start asking customers to sign up, and we really want our customers to actually download the app. And what this does is it shows the local farmers that you're there and there's demand for your milk. And what we'll then do is it helps us to convince farmers that the Happy Cow way is the way to go. So I won't ramble on too much longer. We have got a few comments coming through. Let me know if I've missed anything. Let me have a look. What does this say? It says, so Marco, I like the way you're bringing the milkman back. I understand that the way that works is that the customer needs to be present at the moment of purchase. Are you thinking of setting up some kind of prepayment So you can leave your bottles at the mailbox and the milkman can fill your containers when he gets there. That means you wouldn't need to pay for it. No, this is why we do it through the app, so that you don't need to be there. The app takes care of payment. So when the delivery driver turns up at your gate, basically they would fill the bottle up, and as soon as they've pushed stop, or they've ended the delivery, you'd get a notification on your app saying that your milk has been delivered. And we need to test this, but we sort of think that a good time to deliver milk would be after work when everyone's got home. And the idea is that you have lots of delivery people, like every suburb or maybe your block will have one person that does just your block, maybe 100, 200, I don't know, 300 households maybe. And they quickly run around, they do a 2-hour delivery and a 2-hour delivery run and then come back. And then what our system does is our tank knows how full it is, and we also know what traditional demand is, and then we match the farmer to the delivery driver, so they make sure that they don't run out of milk. And what the farmer does is they would come around to your house, pick up the empty milk, the empty tanks, take it back to their farm, wash it, refill it, and re-deliver it again. So the thing about doing things digitally is it enables us much more flexibility to handle all that payment, and we want to get away from cash, we want to get away from paper and receipts and stuff like that. So when someone buys a litre of milk, they look at the app, they'll know the farmer it's come from, they'll know the batch date, they'll know their best before date, and they'll know who the driver is as well. So thanks, Marco. Got a few more questions here from, who we got here? This is from Chris. Hi, Glen. Will Happy Cow offer trim milk options or just regular milk? To start off with, I think we'll just do regular milk. Trim milk is another piece of equipment, and it's another complexity. And to be honest, yeah, we didn't really have much demand for trim milk when we were doing it before. The advantage of doing trim milk is, though, it lets you get into other products like butter. But at the moment, trim milk would be just a step too far. So we've got another one here. Where will Happy Cow milk be available for purchase? Farm stalls, supermarket purchase, or elsewhere? And will there be certain areas of New Zealand where you will begin with? And if so, would this include Cambridge? Well, we've got a couple of farmers in Cambridge, actually. Yeah, so like I said before, we're going to decide where we're going to launch. We want to, when we launch, the system is going to get foolproofed and ruggedly tested. And once that's done, we can scale across the country. And I think when we got to that point, we would like to have farmers lined up all across the country with customers waiting, ready to go. And I think we can sell at, farmers markets. We'd love to sell at the supermarkets, and we think that's possible. But we're also going to sell through primary schools and high schools. And the reason for that is they've just been contacting us because they want plastic-free milk. And because like I was saying, with our app-based system, when you buy milk, we automatically send a portion or the retail margin of that milk to the retailer. So schools essentially become a retailer, and then they can get around 50 cents a litre for the milk that's sold. So it can become a bit of a fundraiser for schools at the same time. So if kids can bring their milk bottle to school with them, fill it up and take it home, and the school gets the retail margin. So I would like to test all sorts of different areas where we can sell milk. I think that's really, I just love the fact that people can now, I suppose you can get another income, without having to have a job. It's going to be sort of a side hustle. Will these units be available for dairy sheep farmers? Well, absolutely, it will work for sheep. I suppose we just need to concentrate on getting, milk, get our system working for dairy. If sheep farmers wanted to wanted to look at it, then we'd definitely be willing to help, as long as it didn't, I think in the next 6 months or 12 months, we'd probably say it's not something we're willing to look at just yet. But keep in touch, because I think there's a lot of potential there. Got another one here. In the beginning, you talked about mobile milking, so cows could stay with calves and be milked in the field. Why doesn't this get talked about anymore? Tracy, yeah, good point. So I milked with a mobile cow shed because, basically I didn't have a farm, and that enabled me to turn any bit of leased land into a milking platform. So we started with that, and I think we really want to, I suppose, promote this more once we've developed the milk processing side and the distribution side. I think we would also want to provide, I suppose, an actual milking component. So and that'll be some form of mobile unit. That milking in the paddock, I'm a big fan of it, particularly with the cow and calf thing. And when we discuss cow and calf issues later on, I think what you'll find is that one of the major objections to dairy farmers is that it's hard for them to bring the cow into the cow shed every milking with the calves, because traditional cow sheds aren't designed for that sort of system. And this is where the mobile system is so good. And at the moment, we're trying to find the right farmer who's willing, who has the right attitude, and also will do the cow and calf thing. And if we also said you had to do mobile milking, they might, it just might be a bridge too far at the moment. But having said that, I sort of have a feeling that the farmers that we have today, well, the happy cow farmers of tomorrow are probably not actually milking cows at the moment. And I think we're going to be able to help a lot of people go farming. And these are people who didn't think of themselves as farmers, but and I think the mobile milking has a big side of that, a big part to play in that. So we definitely want to talk about it. Yeah, moving on to, well, we need to get these things sorted. We need to get the milk going, and the mobile cow shed is probably at the back burner at the moment. The business model can easily scale up to enormous and out of control proportions. Absolutely. Well, I hope so. It would be, I would like to know if Happy Cow is ready for this level of success. Are we ready for success? What kind of supply chain? Oh, it's been cut short. Obviously, it's only my software only allows a certain amount of text. Look, I mean, I'm not doing this to, be small and have no impact. I mean, this is probably the 10th year of this project. So yeah, I mean, we're building this to scale, like I said earlier on. And I think, we've definitely got the people. And basically, how to scale is also how to make sure that farmers are compliant with the promises that we're sort of giving. And we've got some other alternative ways of doing that as well, which we can probably talk about later. Yeah, so I think we're coming to an end there. Thanks, Bronwyn. Next week we've got, I think we've got a couple of scientists lined up who have basically done research on cow and calf separation and stress levels and things like that. And we've also got another researcher who's done a lot of work on the vocalization of cows and stuff like that. And it's actually, I find it really interesting. I thought we'll interview them, and you guys can ask questions and figure out what, I think ask things that I don't think of. So that's what we're going to do next week. We've also got Chris Falconer, our first farmer in the Waikato. He's a good guy. He's got some really interesting perspectives. We're going to bring him in all the time, and I haven't told him that yet, but I think he's keen. And really have some good conversations. And yeah, so we're going to put this online to watch later, and we'll also share around on our social as well. I would love to hear from you. I really do enjoy getting your feedback. So that's my email. Please email me about anything. It really gives me the opportunity to understand what you guys think is important, whether you're a farmer, a reseller, or just a fan. And it enables us to just get more information, and those are the sort of things that we need to put out there. So I probably won't drag on too long, but that's basically the Happy Cow model in a nutshell. Very basically what we're trying to do, and we want we just want to thank all our supporters. Like basically I've been given a second chance of this, and we were very supportive of it. And I think the Happy Cow story is quite amazing, and the way people have sort of supported Happy Cow and kept supporting Happy Cow is really good. And I think as we start introducing our team and things, you'll see that we've got a pretty capable team. That it's not just janky Glen anymore. We've got people who know what they're doing, and I've started the vision, and these people are going to help us take it through. And I think when we do our next crowdfunding I think we'll get into more detail about the business model and the financials around it. And I think we're going to have a big impact around the world. So we'll end it there, and thank you very much.